Hello and welcome to Oklahoma. Right now we are at a facility called Mid-America Outdoors and we're testing out the brand new Honda Talon 1000R4. So this is a new version of the 4-seat Honda Talon. Now they've got an R model of it. So this is the wider, more high-speed and high-performance Fox Live valve version of the 4-seat Talon. And we're out here in Oklahoma testing them out. As you can see, I mean, these units are all covered in mud. And I mean, there is a pretty fresh one over there, but personally, I like the look of this one covered in mud. So to show you around this unit, I'll actually show you around the one that I've been driving. I've got my helmet placed on it here from our partners over at RevZilla. Is where I get all of my gear. And I want to talk to you about what's new on this. So for this new 1000R4 model, you get a 4-inch wider track. This is also 2 inches longer than the 1000X4. So if you want to do some more high-speed, more aggressive trail riding, this is going to be the unit for you to get. And of course, there's been a 1000R model in the 2-seat configuration. So they've adapted a lot of those features over to this 4-seater, but Honda says that, they didn't just slap some parts that they had laying around on it. There's been very specific development done around things like these live valve shocks from Fox, and these are really impressive suspension components. These shocks can go through apparently their entire adjustment range in 20 milliseconds, which is really impressive. So these are constantly sampling what's going on around you, everything from your speed, your steering angle, your throttle input, your braking input, the weight of the vehicle. It's taking all of that into account so that it can adjust constantly what those shocks are doing. And if we pop open the door here, you can see that they have two different modes. There's a sport mode and a normal mode, so you can adjust a little bit how the shocks act. And two, here in the center of the dash, you can also see a sport mode for the engine. These are your transmission settings, so there's automatic and manual transmission settings. There's your hill start assist, you have launch mode, and then 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive. And then of course there are positions for some accessory lights like what's installed on this model. We have a light bar up front here. We also have an accessory bumper and some accessory off-road pod lights there as well. Now let's walk around to the back and talk a little bit about what's powering the Talon 1000R4. This is a very familiar 999cc parallel twin. There you can see the throttle bodies. This is a 6-speed dual clutch. It's about 105 horsepower setup, and it's connected to a really sophisticated 4-wheel drive system. So it's the i 4-wheel drive system, and the way that this works is that it can actually grab brake and distribute torque to wheels where it needs to go. And on a lot of vehicles, that torque vectoring through braking slows you down, but in part because of the limited slip differential that's here in the front, when this grabs brake on the wheel that's spinning, it actually amplifies the power going to your wheel with traction. And what's cool is that that system is also meant to work under braking. So this vehicle is designed to be able to send braking force to the wheels that have the most traction. And you'll have to tune in for our full review that'll be upcoming, where we'll show you how that works and we'll talk about how it actually feels. But in this video, I just kind of wanted to show you around these new Talons. And also for 2023, they've changed a few other things. One was something that they got a lot of feedback from customers on. They've now further enclosed the doors, so there's going to be less mud and water getting in. So you can see it's pretty clean in here. Obviously, these models are dusty because we've been driving in a whole train of vehicles, but as you can see, mud on the outside of the vehicle, so they've further enclosed those doors. And there are a couple different color options. There's this white and the classic Honda red, but it's pretty hard to beat the matte blue on these models. That is a pretty stellar color. You can see a little bit of metallic in that matte finish. Of course, the frame matches as well. And then looking inside at the seats here, really cool to see that the seats match the frame and the exterior color, and they actually match really well. I can only imagine how difficult it is to get the color to be the same on the fabric as well as the metal frame and the plastics, but all of them match really, really well. And two, on my unit over here, I'll show you some more of the controls. So obviously you have your paddles right here to go through the gears on the dual clutch transmission, and if I flip the key on, you can see our instrument cluster here. So it gives you information about a lot of things. You've got your dummy lights, you've also got lights to tell you what your suspension mode is, but on the main screen you have your four-wheel drive indicator, you have your fuel indicator, you have a clock, your speed, your tach, your gear position. So all the basic information that you want to have is accessible right there in front of you. Something else too that they've changed for 2023 is some of the storage. So you can see large pockets for storage here in the door, as well as a cup holder, and even under the seat there's a net right here where you can place some extra things. You can pop the seat up so that you get access to that. And another thing that Honda talks about was a big part of their development is making sure that rear seat passengers have a good view in front of them, because if you're in the back here and you're doing some high-speed running, you know, you want to be able to see where you're going. So they place these seats such that you're still able to see where you should be going. And yeah, I definitely sit a little bit higher up here in the back, so at my height I can see in front. Another thing that is a pretty interesting design, if I walk around here, speaking of the passengers' accommodations, is the bar right here for the passenger, the way that this adjusts. So I was riding along with one of the frame engineers, and it was one of his coworkers that created this design. So this just makes it really easy to adjust where you want this handle to be. And then you flip that lever down, and just like that, it's locked in place. There's really almost no movement in it at all. So that's basically just a general rundown of this new Talon, some of the new features that are on it, as well as some of the accessories that you can see here. So be sure to tune in for the full video where we'll get this out on the trail and talk about how it actually performs, some of our driving impressions of what it's like to be behind the wheel, because I mean, this is a really cool trail system, and yeah, I highly recommend you get a closer look at what it's like. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, and we'll catch you all in the next video.